Moon Kayong has her Sun and Mercury in Cancer, with both planets forming an opposition to retrograde Jupiter in Capricorn. The Cancer Sun indicates she embodies the archetype of the nurturer, empathetic, receptive, and protective. She is attuned to the emotional atmosphere around her. Rather than relying solely on logic or external facts, she filters her experiences through an emotional lens, interpreting the world based on how it makes her feel. Her sense of identity is tied to emotional bonds, to memory, and a need for emotional security. Mercury in Cancer suggests a mind shaped by feelings. Kayong thinks, learns, and communicates in emotionally nuanced ways, often filtering information through an intuitive and subjective lens. Her speech is expressive, poetic, and imbued with emotional undertones, making her gifted in storytelling, acting, or any form of personal expression. However, with Mercury conjunct to the Sun, Mercury is considered combust, meaning it is burned by the proximity to the Sun's rays. This can manifest as challenges in her mental processes. She could often experience mental stress or exhaustion from overthinking, or often struggle with nervous tension. Her mental processes are so closely tied to her own experiences and emotional expression that she sometimes lacks the objectivity to step back and see things from a broader perspective. This combustion can also make her prone to internalizing things, particularly criticism or emotionally charged situations, or her thoughts can literally cause her emotional wounds or suffering. She may struggle at times with distinguishing between intuition and emotional bias, especially with Mercury in a water sign like Cancer, where subjectivity reigns. Despite this, her chart reflects a blend of Cancer's emotional depth, Virgo's precision, and Gemini's curiosity, qualities that likely give her both intellectual sharpness and a sensitive inner world. This combination makes her not only thoughtful and perceptive, but also capable of adapting herself to resonate emotionally with others. The Sun and Mercury's opposition to retrograde Jupiter in Capricorn adds another layer to her. She likely has a philosophical nature and possibly a deep interest in religion, philosophy, or spiritual practices. There is a tension between emotional subjectivity and the desire for mature perspective. This aspect suggests an internal push and pull. On one hand, she relies on her intuitive and emotionally driven perceptions. On the other, she feels called to develop greater objectivity and philosophical wisdom. Jupiter retrograde often suggests that maturity and growth involves hard-earned wisdom through reevaluations, revisions, and trial and error. She may learn best through reflecting and repetition, revisiting beliefs or experiences until deeper understanding is reached. At her best, she is warm-hearted, generous, and emotionally intelligent. However, the opposition between the Sun and Jupiter can point to inflated self-confidence or misplaced faith in her own perspective. She may occasionally struggle with conceit, unrealistic expectations, or overestimating her abilities, leading to humbling lessons that challenge her ego and foster maturity. Her moon in Taurus provides a steadying influence, grounding her emotionally and offering a sense of inner calm and resilience. This is a powerful placement. Taurus is the moon's sign of exaltation, suggesting that her emotional nature is consistent and stable. She's not easily shaken or quick to overreact or become emotionally disturbed. It takes a lot to provoke a strong emotional reaction from her as she processes her emotions in a sensible, realistic, and grounded manner. She seeks emotional security and stability through comfortable physical surroundings, familiar routines, or experiences that engage her senses. Because the moon rules Cancer, her Cancer Sun and Mercury are ultimately answering to this Taurus moon. This lunar rulership adds depth and gravity to her self-expression. Her identity and communication style are stabilized and filtered through groundedness. There's a quiet strength and dignity in how she presents herself. She may come across as nurturing yet composed, sensitive yet self-possessed. At the same time, Taurus is a fixed earth sign, which can make her emotionally stubborn or resistant to change. Once she settles into a feeling, belief, or relationship, she may find it difficult to let go. Her emotional steadiness can be both a gift and a limitation. It grants her incredible loyalty and patience, but may also lead to clinging to comfort zones or resisting necessary evolution. The interplay between her Cancer placements and Taurus moon paints a picture of her as someone who deeply values emotional safety, but whose inner anchor is tied to the pleasures and assurances of the physical world: beauty, luxury, good food, affectionate touch, and financial security. She is someone who equates love with stability and comfort, and who expresses affection through practical acts of devotion. She feels most emotionally nourished when her environment is peaceful and her world is materially and physically stable and secure. Her love life, attractions, and aesthetic preferences are shaped by a dynamic conjunction between Venus and Mars, a pairing that infuses passion, charm, and intensity into her romantic expression. Venus and Mars, when conjoined together, symbolize the union of desire and attraction, the dance between feminine allure and masculine pursuit. This conjunction bestows her with magnetic charisma and a compelling presence in romantic situations. She doesn't just wait for love, she initiates, engages, and brings a lively spark to her relationship. Venus in Gemini shows that she is drawn to partners who stimulate her mind. Intellectual rapport, witty conversation, and a playful exchange of ideas are essential components of her attraction. She may gravitate toward youthful or younger partners, those who are curious, quick-witted, adaptable, and emotionally light on their feet. Social connections and verbal chemistry are key turn-ons, and love for her must be mentally engaging and alive with possibility. The conjunction with Mars adds fire to this air sign's flirty and cerebral nature. It makes her love life more dynamic, marked by movement, excitement, and occasional drama. Mars steers Venus's desire for union and connection, but also ignites impulsivity, competitiveness, and restlessness in matters of the heart. This can manifest in relationships that begin quickly and burn brightly, with plenty of verbal sparring, passionate debates, and flirtatious banter. For her, love is rarely dull. It's something to be actively pursued, explored, and lived out with intensity. Conversely, Venus softens Mars's typically assertive edge, blending her capacity for charm and receptivity with Mars's drive. This mutual influence can attract partners, particularly men who express a softer or more gentle kind of masculinity. She may find herself drawn to those who are curious and open-minded rather than dominant, playful rather than aggressive, and emotionally responsive rather than closed off or stoic. At its best, Venus-Mars conjunction fosters magnetic chemistry, mutual passion, and a vibrant exchange of ideas and affection. At times, however, it may also bring volatility, impatience, or inconsistency in romantic matters, especially if deeper emotional needs or compatibility are overlooked in favor of stimulation and passion. Also, apartheid quincunx between Venus and retrograde Jupiter suggests a subtle but persistent tension in your love life, between a desire for lighthearted, mentally engaging relationships and the pull toward serious, responsible, or even status-conscious partnerships. As mentioned, Venus in Gemini thrives on variety, flirtation, and stimulating conversations. It wants to keep things light, fun, and interesting. Meanwhile, Jupiter in Capricorn seeks structure, long-term reward, and meaningful growth in relationships. This quincunx suggests a disconnect between these two drives. This can lead to relationships that feel mismatched in rhythm, values, or priorities. She may attract partners who expect seriousness and commitment, while she herself craves levity and freedom, or vice versa. This interplay teaches her to integrate different experiences, learning to blend curiosity and connection with integrity, patience, and commitment. Ultimately, Kayong is an expressive, bold, and youthful lover, drawn to relationships that spark both excitement and depth. She becomes most alive when love becomes an adventure of the heart, spirit, and mind, where passion and playfulness intertwine.